Praises to the Most High.
And it's that son, Yahushua, of the world called Jesus. Um, get right into it. Lately, we've been kind of going into as far as like the how our history connects to the Bible, who the people of the Bible is, and and as far as like the description of the people and stuff. So, but I want us to get into a little bit of the common terminology that we use, but we misunderstand through the teachings that we've been taught, um, which is the concept of heaven and hell. And when you get into it, you'll see that um, heaven is a state of being, and hell is a state of being. It's a it's a like I said, it's a state. It's not like what we've been taught. As far as like when you die, you go to some place you go to heaven, or you die, you be bad, you go to hell for eternity. No, like the Bible says, like when people die, we all go to the same place, and that judgment happened on underneath the sun, which is this earth here, right? So, and too far back to like the history too. If y'all want like more information, as far as like a scholastic point of view, like an academic point of view of how we connect to this book and who we are as a people before 1492 or 1619. Um, I know most of us probably got Tubi. We can check out this movie on Tubi called uh, Reclaiming the Throne. That's what it's called, Reclaiming the Throne. Reclaiming the Throne. So yeah, you want to check that out too if you information interested in as far as the scholastic part, the history. Because right now we just, kind of, just proving it through the Bible. But like I said, we can also prove all this through archaeology and history. Um, but yeah, heaven is a state. How they say, if you're old enough, you probably remember. They say like white man's heaven is a black man's hell, or whatever, right? So it's a state, And so we gonna get into it, right? Get into what's that? Zephaniah 2, right? So the Zephaniah 2:2. But and we gotta understand too. We gotta it's a concentrated effort. Like as far as the you know give us misinformation or keep us in darkness on who we is. As long as we down, they can stay above us. And but like I said, this book was written to us for us, and so we gotta gather ourselves together and try to and come back together. And it says Zephaniah 2:2. Gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together, O nation not desired. Right? Because we that nation not desired. It says, gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. So we those people that's not desired. Everywhere we go, they look at us strange, like what we doing here. No matter where you are in the world, you know, they're gonna look at you like, what you doing here? Like even Oprah Winfrey, she went over to Europe to France. She got put out one of those stores. They kicked her out one of the stores. Or like I said, everywhere we go, they got a name. Nigga translated in their language that they call us. So, and the black Hispanic man, and woman, wherever we go, we disrespected. We that nation that's not desired. It says, gather yourself together, O nation not desired, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as a chef, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day Lord's of the Lord's anger come upon you. Right. So it's talking about we got to come together in these last days. Before that day of the Lord come, which is what people will call Judgment Day. So we got to come back together. A lot of us, we don't have that camaraderie to come back together. We don't, we got an evil eye towards each other, and we don't look at each other as, brothers and sisters and stuff like that. We, always at odds, whether it's relationships, friendships, or whatever, you know. So we got to come back together, like God said, because, we as his children. And like any other parent, they want their kids to get along. So we got to come back together. So let me get this in, we're going to get this in Zechariah real quick, right? Zechariah, what's that, 11 and 5, right? Zechariah 11 and 5. And, so like I said, so we got to come together. And it says before that decree, right? And, and we got to understand that we got to come together, right? And all the hell that we've been through and, living on this side of the world, you know, and the injustice that we face, and the Bible speaks to it because it tells you Zechariah 11 and 5, who possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, right? So when Trayvon Martin got killed, what they say, not guilty. When what's that? George Floyd, not George Floyd. What's that? Like Tamir Rice, all them people. Countless occasions. They will slay us and then go to they court of law and be found not guilty. It says who possesses slay. Who possesses slay them and hold themselves not guilty. So they know they're not gonna get in trouble for killing us. That's why they do it with impunity. They have no cause to not do it because it's their law system. And according to them, we the criminals. So it says who possesses slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Uh, and they say to themselves, and they that sell them, because we were sold here in America, and it says, and they that sell them says, blessed be the Lord. So they thinking it's a righteous thing to treat us this way, in their mind. That's why, you talk to a person and they be like, white person, they be like, oh, that was a long time ago. That's, why you talking about that? Because, what it say? It says, who possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. So, and that's what they say to themselves. They think, they thinking it's a blessing for God that America, was built off of slavery and last this long. And, they still got this empire, ruling over everything. It says, and their shepherds pity them not, meaning the people that's supposed to be in our leadership, they not doing anything to help the people. They going along with the get along. They allowing them to come in to to oppress and stuff. They just because they getting paid, they getting a check for it. So it says the shepherds pity them not, right? So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 64 real quick. So we got to gather ourselves together, and the main reason why we got to gather together because we spread it out, and we segregated amongst ourselves, and so this Deuteronomy 28:64 says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end to the earth and to the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone, right? So we scattered to all these different places, right? So that's why we have to, gather ourselves together. And, so, once we gather ourselves together and come back to this knowledge and understand who we is, come back to our culture, we can get up out of this thing, and because we got to understand the kingdom, the kingdom is the kingdom is the people. That's why I tell you that the kingdom is, in Matthew, I think Jesus said, like, the kingdom is within you. So the kingdom is the people first, So we are the kingdom, but we got to come back to our culture and our heritage. And kingdom is rulership, and So like when they talk about heaven, it's talking about rulership. When they talk about heaven, when they talk about hell, it's talking about being at a low state. You know, maybe like for example, like a homeless person or something, right? Will be considered at a low state. So that's what or you going through turmoil. You're always having some type of trouble in your life. That'll be like hell. So it's conditions. Then it also say like far as hell, like hell is like the ground, like far as like when you know dead or something, but it's not like a place that you go and you get tormented. You know, and so go to Deuteronomy 30:1. So it says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations where the Lord thy God had driven thee. So like I said, so it's talking to us because we the people that scattered throughout, throughout this earth. The so-called men that call themselves Jewish, you know, they're not scattered through slavery and conquest. Everywhere they went there because they bought real estate there. That's why they there. But we scattered throughout these different nations and stuff, and being second class citizens wherever we at. You know, and so we just gotta understand that. And so oh yeah, that's what's that, Deuteronomy? Yeah, so let me go to Isaiah, right? So we gotta gather ourselves, and because like I said, we out here like just segregated within the nation, amongst ourselves, not together and not getting along. So it says for that, and so it says for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So we got to be set in our own land because, like I said before, we scatter amongst the nations. Like I said in Deuteronomy 30, we scatter amongst the nations. So he got to gather us and set us back in our own land. So those so-called people that call themselves the Jews, or how the church will have you believe that those the people, they're not scattered everywhere, and they're not in need. They stole that land like they stole everywhere else you see their faces at, right? So it says, and the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers, which is the other nations, people that's not Israelites, and the strangers shall be joined unto them, and they should cleave to the house of Jacob, meaning they're going to be cleaving to us. They're going to want to come with us, or they're going to want to, just like how we cleave to America now for like, their financial assistance that we may need, or their housing, or whatever the case may be, or, for their jobs and all that stuff. They're going to be coming to us for all these things in that day, right? And the people should take them and bring them to their place in the house of Israel should possess them. So in that day, we're gonna possess them just like they possessed us over here in America and Europe and South America and everywhere else, right? In the land, possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and for handmaids, and they should take them captives who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressor, and they shall rule over their oppressors, right? So that's what's getting ready to come, So that's why, when once we gather together, he's going to have mercy on us. Then he's going to, revisit this place again. Then he's going to bring us back. And, but a lot of us is caught up in this American life and this, way of the world. And a lot of us don't want to leave. A lot of us want to stay here. And then you're going to get, you're going to get caught up in it, because when that World War III break out, you're going to be caught up in the mix. And so, like I said, because that's because a lot of us want to still, cling on to this way and not realizing that ever since we've been here, they have lied to us. They haven't. I mean, why would your oppressor tell you anything of value, anything that can help, right? Every time we did anything like sufficient to try to help ourselves, they tore it down. They bombed it, they burnt it down. They did all type of wicked stuff, against us, right? So now this Isaiah 10 and 11. It says, and the sons of the strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall be shall and they king shall minister unto thee. So these rulers of these nations, they're gonna have to come and take their resources, whether it's physical or they send labor, and they're gonna have to build up our walls. So when we talk about the kingdom, like I said, the kingdom is gonna be on earth. That's why in that prayer it says, "Our Father who art in heaven, thy kingdom come on earth." Right? So the kingdom is gonna be on earth, but all these nations that we have to build up their nation, they're gonna have to come and build up ours, just like we built up theirs, built up their economy, built up their wealth, right? Make them rich and famous. Like every time you hear about, any famous civilization that you hear about, the common denominator is they had us as their second class citizens, slaves, if you will. Egypt, Greece, Rome, uh, England, Spain, uh, China, whenever, any one of them, anyone you can think of, they had us. Because, like the Bible said, we are the salt of the earth, and so it says and they shall minister unto thee, and for my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor I had mercy on thee. Meaning, in the past, God judged us. God, put us through some things like the stuff that we went through in America. And the history, that we went through. So it said in the past he smote us, but in his mercy he's gonna have favor, right? And they let me see. And therefore the gate shall be open continually, and they shall not be shut day nor night, that the men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. So meaning all these other nation wealth that they accumulate throughout time and stuff, they're gonna have to bring to us, and let me jump down here. And the sons also of them that inflict thee, meaning their children, their offspring, shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel, right? So I mean, so that's not for everybody. That's pretty, exclusive. That's not for everybody. So then go to 40, right? You go to 40 and 15 real quick. So we're gonna go through this real quick just to give you the understanding that the kingdom is a place, and then the kingdom will have to be built, just like America kingdom had to be built. So it's 40 and boom, boom, go to 15. What's this? Yeah. Yeah, we're on 40 and 15. So it says, behold, the nations are a drop of a bucket. They are counted as small dust of the balance. Behold, they take up the owls as a very little thing. So God is saying, like, these other nations is like a drop in a bucket to him. He don't care about them. He only care about Israel. All the nations before him are as nothing. They are counted as nothing. Then check this out. Less than nothing. What's less than nothing? If God already say that these other people outside of Israel is nothing, then he doubled down and say less than nothing. So what did that mean? We his chosen one. So, and he only cared about us. And counted him less than nothing in vanity, right? So, so that's what we got here. And so I mean, so we got to understand that, like when that day come, like I said, so the kingdom is going to be built up with these people, and that inflicted us, just like we have to build up America and make America great. When how they say, right? So they're gonna have to do the same thing. And I mean, and to further prove like heaven and all that stuff is just a what they call like a just to prove that it's a place or whatever, right? Let's go to Jonah, right? Where's Jonah? Boom, boom, boom. Go to Jonah real quick. I mean, cause like Jonah, cause Jonah was like swallowed up by the whale, right? I know some of us are familiar with the story of Jonah. So it's Jonah 2:2. So it says, and it said, I cried by reason of my affliction unto the Lord, and He heard me out of the belly of hell. So here's Jonah saying he's in hell, but he said he's in the belly of hell. But we all know the story. He's in a well, but he's in hell because he inside of this well belly, right? It says, and the Lord, when it says, and I cried by reason of my affliction unto the Lord, and He heard me out of the belly of the well. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou heard my voice. Right. So when you start to understand that, it's a place. It's not like you know um, it's not a place you die and you go to and you get tormented or nothing like that. You know, and we're gonna get some more real quick, just to hammer it home. So it's this I'm gonna go to Lamentations 2:1, right? So it says, "How the Lord had covered the daughters of Zion with a cloud in His anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel." Right. So now we know that Zion is the Israelites. Israel is the Black, Hispanic, and Native American. So I mean, and here it says He cast us down from heaven. So we wasn't up in some type of third, fourth dimension up there with the Most High. Cast down from heaven, meaning we were at a high state when we was ruling, had control, dominion. Then He cast us down to this low state, to where we are now, where we don't have ownership of anything, and we gotta go through our oppressor to attain anything, pretty much. And so it says, "How hath the Lord covered the daughters of Zion with the cloud in His anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not the foot the footstool in the day of His anger." Right? He said the earth is His footstool. So yeah, so He cast us down from heaven, meaning He cast us down from a high state, to a low state, right? And so we're gonna get into we're going to go to Psalms 116, right? Real quick. Because tell you prophesies to the wind, Psalms 116 and 3. So it said, "The sorrow of death compassed me, and the pains of hell gat hold upon me. I found trouble in my sorrow." So here you see hell being explained as hard times, trouble, so that's what hell is. Sometimes you might be in a relationship with somebody and you like, man, being with that person was hell, so hell is a condition, it's a state, you understand? So let's go to 18 real quick, 18 and 5. Psalms 18 and 5. And it reads, the sorrows of hell compassed me about, the snares of death prevented me, right? So again, it's explaining hell as being a sorrow, a place of like hell being a state of trouble, so so like I said, it's not a place you die and you get tormented forever, and because it tell you in Revelation that death and hell will be thrown into the lake of fire. So then you got some people thinking that the lake of fire and hell is the same thing. So how could hell and the lake of fire be the same thing if the Bible says hell is gonna be thrown into the lake of fire, meaning like all the worries of this world, the troubles of this world is gonna be done away with. That's what that simply means, right? So let's go to that Ecclesiastes real quick, just to to give you the understanding that the hammer it home, right? We go to 1 and 4. We start at 4. So it says, so like I said, so and what you gotta understand too, it's just like springtime, right? Uh, like every spring the same flowers grow in the same spot, they come back, in the wintertime they die. So it's the same thing with people, you know. So we died, then in the next generation we're reborn again. We come back. That's why sometimes we might say that it feel like that we live on this earth before, like we feel like we've been here before. You hear people say that, you know, and I mean, but it's true, we lived many times before. And so, and Solomon is telling you this in Ecclesiastes. It tells you, he says it in a poetic way, but that's what he's basically saying. It says, one generation pass away and another generation come. Meaning that generation is gone, now the next generation is born. Um, but under the earth abide forever. Meaning, like, all this stuff happened on the earth. The sun also rises, and the sun goes down and has his own place where he arose. The wind goes forward, um, the south, and turn about unto the north. It it whirls about continually, and the wind return again according to its circuits. So even the wind got a cycle. The sun got a cycle, the moon got a cycle. So it says, all the rivers run into the sea, and yet the sea is not filled until the place from whence the river come hither they return again. So meaning the water recycles also. Scientists would tell you that they found you know like underneath, they go down into the little sea and stuff. They find like little chambers of water, fresh water that they never even knew was down there because the water comes and they see how the system is. Like, I don't know how to exactly explain it, but it's like how it just basically recycles and it filters itself, right? It says that so this is the important part. All and jump down to 9. That the things that have been, that is, that which shall be, that which is done is that which shall be done. Meaning, everything that's going to happen is going to happen, and it has happened. And there is no new thing under the sun. Meaning, it's nothing new under the sun. Like, your situation is not unique to anybody else. It's nothing new under the sun. So everything is in cycles. And it says, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, it is new. So it's saying, like, you can't look at something and say, hey, this is new, because like I said, the Bible says nothing new under the sun, right? And a lot of these inventions that they come out with, a lot of these stuff, just rediscover technology that they have. And it says, it has been already of old time, which has been before us. There's no, so like I said, so it's getting into like, how things, been created, and how, we might take a wonder to it, but it's no new thing under the sun. And then it's also talking about the cycle of people, how people are regenerated, how we died and we come back. So you die. I don't have the Apocrypha in front of me, but it's in the Apocrypha. I think Esdras will tell you how, we die and our soul goes, back to the Father, which then we get judged. Then we live out that judgment in the next life when we, be born again. And, so that whatever you're going through in that lifetime is because of what you did in your last lifetime. It might be a little, kind of I know it's a little difficult to understand, but you know, so it says, there is no remembrance of the former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come. So, like you said, so when you be born again, after you done lived your in the past generation, you don't remember what you did in that last generation. You just living out your judgment that you received, in that in this lifetime, right? So there's no remembrance of the former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of the things that to come with those that shall come after. So, meaning we don't remember our former life and our former the former things, right? So, so when you understand that, and so you see that, like, you know, like I said, so it's a generation, it's a cycle, and so once you understand that heaven is the kingdom. I mean, heaven is the people, and so in the people, that's why it says gather yourself together, and it also tell you in the New Testament that the kingdom is within you. So, but once we come back to our nationality, our heritage, our culture, then we will be set back on top, and then we will have that dominion, because that's what heaven means, dominion, rulership. Because like I tell you in Esdras 6 and 56, that the earth was given to us. It was made for our sakes. But so we got to get back to that state of being. So it's what's that? Go to Nehemiah real quick. Where's Nehemiah? 2:48. So Nehemiah 1:9, right? So it says, "But if ye turn unto me and keep my commandments and do them, through there, where you were cast out unto the uttermost parts of heaven." So here it is telling you that the Israelites, was cast out into other most parts of heaven, meaning this kingdom that we in, we were cast out everywhere, because America is broad. You look up the military bases; they got like military bases in like every damn country you can think of. So this empire is broad. So it says we was cast out of throughout all of heaven. So, like I said, heaven is dominion, rulership. So it's not a place that you go, because we know that we haven't been spread it out through all heaven. As far as like what most of us think the definition is. So it's not talking about a spiritual place that you go when you die. So it says, but if ye return unto me and keep my commandments and do them, though where you were cast out unto the uttermost parts of heaven, yet I will gather them from hence, and I will bring them unto the place that I have chosen to set my name there, which would be Israel, Jerusalem, right? So, and so that's why we got to come back together, because once we come back together, He's going to set us back in that place, and then we will have that heaven that we talk about, and we can tell Tupac that heaven got a ghetto and it's filled with white people. Straight up. So so let's go to Isaiah 4 and 2 real quick. Let's go back to Isaiah 4 and 2. And like I said, it says from the othermost parts of heaven, right? He's going to gather us, because we have to serve captivity in all these different nations, right? So that's why I tell you in Jeremiah, for the Lord will have mercy. This is Jeremiah 14 and 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel. So He's going to choose us in that day and set them in their own land. Because like we just read, that we were scattered amongst the heavens, not the physical heavens, but heavens meaning this kingdom. Because like I said, America has a big dominion, and that dominion is, very broad, because they got military bases everywhere. And for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and yet will choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined unto them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, right? So that's what's going to happen. So then you get Jeremiah 3:18. So yeah, that's what's going to happen, in that day. But we got to understand how, that we got to come back to our culture, our laws, our commandments, our history as a people. And so it says, Jeremiah 18. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north. What's the land of the north? The land of the north is America. Because, like I said, the Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans through prophecy and history and archaeology are the Israelites. And it's telling you in Jeremiah that we're going to come out of the land of the north and come out of the land of the north to the land which I had given for inheritance to your fathers. So the so-called Jewish man can't say that he came out of the land of the north. They was over there in Eastern Europe. So so we got to understand these prophecies of this Bible and see how it's pertaining to us, and understand that this is not a book of the European. So it's Jeremiah 16:15. But the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the north. See, once again, once out of the north, North America, because that's where we're scattered to. North America, then, you got us in South America, everywhere, right? And from the lands where the Lord had driven them, I will bring them again into the land that I promised to their fathers, right? So once again, we see that it's a promise to take us out of these lands that we were brought to, but and pastor's not teaching us in church, teaching us that we are the people of the book. He's teaching us what they call the slave doctrine. Not letting you know who we really is. So this Isaiah 65:15, and ye shall leave your name for a curse. Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's one. Yeah, you should leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for the Lord God shall slay thee and call his servants by another name. So yeah, so it's telling you that we're gonna be called by another name in these places that we were scattered out to. He said you should leave your name for a curse and be called by another name. So like I said, so we gotta come back to who he is, as a people, who we are, and where we can, get the kingdom of heaven that everybody is talking about. But like I said, you don't have to die, like Tupac said, or was it Tupac or not? But anybody, you don't have to die to get to heaven, because heaven is us. We are the people, but we have to come back to how, how we supposed to be ruling. So, and it's let me go back. Let me see. Yeah, go back to that. You go to 18, go back to Jeremiah 65:18 real quick. It says, but but be ye glad, rejoice forever that which I created, for behold, I created a new Jerusalem, and rejoice, and and her people shall be with joy, right? So it's saying it created a new Jerusalem. That new Jerusalem is just the people that's going to be saved after, all this is said and done. So it says, and I will rejoice in Jerusalem in the joy of my people, and the people of the weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. So it's telling you, just like how, you hear in church, like it's going to be no more crying and pain in heaven. So it's telling you, for the people of Jerusalem, which is the Israelites, that, it's not going to be no pain. No, we're not going to be able to go through what we've been going through, on this side of the world in that day, right? So let's go to Revelation, the 21. So it says, and John saw 21:2. and John saw a holy city, a new Jerusalem, from come down from God out of heaven, prepared his bride adorned with her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, "Behold, the tabernacles of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and and he will be their God." Right. So, like I said, it's telling you that he's going to be, you know, this Jerusalem is going to be on earth. He's going to come and dwell with us here, and we're going to be his people, right? So it is a place, I mean, like I said, it is the people, and wherever we at, that's where heaven at, because in that day, we're going to have dominion over the whole earth. So wherever we at, that's where heaven is. So it's not like a place where you got to go and die or whatever. Let's go back to Zephaniah 2 and 2 real quick. So like I said, so once we, so now that we understand that, like, it's not a place that you die and you're going to go to. It's a kingdom. It means rulership, dominion, right? So that's why in Zephaniah 2 and 2 it says, "Gather yourself together. Yeah, gather yourself together, O nation not desired, before the decree bring forth the day pass, and as a chaff before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you," right? So that's why we got to gather back together, where we can get all of these things and come back to our culture and our heritage, and who we is as a people, the commandments, and keeping the laws of God, so we can get the kingdom of heaven and have that dominionship and have that power over the nations that, that we, supposed to have. So we can go to Philippians. We go to Philippians. That Philippians. Philippians 1 and 7, real quick. So yeah, this. Hold on. Yeah. So it says, Philippians 1 and 7, "For we have great joy and consolation in thy love, because the bows of the saints are refreshed by thee, brother," right? So we got to come together, and we got to be able to refresh each other. We got to be able to, have each other back when each other, is feeling down and, depressed or whatever. We got to be able to cheer each other up, and that's why it says, "For we have great joy and consolation in thy love, because the bows of the saints are refreshed by thee, brother." So, because sometimes, you might be feeling down. You need somebody that's, pick you up, and make you feel good, and, give you that encouraging word, and we got to do that for each other when you're walking in this truth. I mean, because, like, once you try to, walk in this truth, there's a lot of, stuff that come your way. You think just being in the world, a lot of stuff happens. But once you start trying to actually serve the real God of this Bible, stuff happens. And you got to be strong about it. You got to be able to go through it, because, like I said, but at least if you in the truth and you're going through it, you have protection and you're able to navigate through it better, and you won't be as, stressed out like how most people would be, right? So that's we're gonna go to we're gonna go to 2 Samuel 1 and 6 real quick, right? Yeah, 2 Samuel. Yeah, 2 Samuel. My bad. Okay. Yeah, 2 Samuel 1 and 26, right? So it says, "I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan, very pleasant hast thou have been unto me. Thy love for me was wonderful, passing the love of a woman." So now what that means is, a lot of people take that scripture wrong, but what that means is, you got your guy back. Like you laying in the bed with your girl or whatever, then your guy might call you on the phone like, hey, I need your help, man. You gotta come. Then you get up out the bed, your girl looking like, hey, what's going on? Like, man, I gotta go check on my man. Something going on. Then you get up and go. So that's what it means having, a love that surpasses, for a woman. Or the same thing with the sisterhood. You in the bed with your guy, and your girl call you up, says she needs your help, she's stranded or whatever the case may be. Then you're gonna tell your guy like, hey, I gotta go check on, Keisha, see what's happening with her. Then you get up and do your thing, whatever, right? So we gotta have that type of camaraderie with each other, that type of love, for each other, and that's what we don't have. We don't have that brotherly and sisterly, love for each other. We look at each other like, oftentimes, like we want to kill each other, like, even if, you're just speaking to a person, right? So we go to, just get into a couple commandments real quick, and to see how we can, because, a lot of people talk about, improving the black community, and these little few things can improve the black community if we implement them, but, we don't know how to implement them. The church is not teaching us how to do none of these things or nothing. So we just out here just going for what we know, right? And, so, then, you end up getting tricked up that way, just, trying to go at it like that. So here, check this out, right? And I'm going to this real quick, though, because it's a understanding, because a lot of people think about, like, what they call, like, the Ten Commandments, right? That's, a lot of, that's what we most, commonly, like, familiar with the Ten Commandments, but it's more than 10. And so I'm just going to jump down to here, right? So now I'm not going to read the Ten Commandments, but that's they're going over the Ten Commandments. So now what's happening is you got the Most High. You had the children of Israel like built like a gate around the mountain. So while he up on the mountain talking, doing his thing. So because he wanted to protect the people, because he said if they come close to the mountain they might die or whatever, right? So now the reason why they call it the Ten Commandments is famous is because those are the 10 commandments that we heard personally from God. But then it was so terrifying and scary for the people because a lot of thundering and earthquakes and stuff was happening while he was talking. So the people told Moses, hey, like, you go get the rest of the laws from God because, we keep listening to him talk, we might die. Because there was a lot of stuff going on. There's thunderstorms, earthquakes, and everything as he was talking. So that's why we only, you only see the 10. But, well, not you only see the 10 because they're here in the Bible, but they only talk about the 10. But, but it tells you, so it says, and all the people saw the thundering and the lightning and the noise of the trumpets and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood far off. So they got scared when they started hearing all this stuff. And they said unto Moses, speak. Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we would die. So they said, look, man, we think we're going to die listening to God because, Yahweh, because he just, it's like a volcano about to go off, the mountain smoking, got this earthquake, thundering and stuff. So that was going on, right? So that's why, like, we don't understand that it's more than 10 commandments. It's actually 613, and, but yeah, that's like, I just want to, get that real quick, to give you an understanding of why we say, why they say, 10 commandments or whatever, right? So now this, Leviticus 17 and, we go to 17 and 18, right? No, not 17, 18. 17. No, we go to 19. In fact, it's just, 19. So now this is just a few things too, like, if we do like implement some of this stuff, like I said, this will cut down like a lot of drama in our community. Like just by, I'm gonna start at 11. It says, ye shall not steal neither deal falsely, neither lie to one another, right? So now we quit trying to be shysters to each other, quit trying to, you know, get over on each other, what we call finessing each other. That will cut out a lot of drama in our community. Just that alone. And but a lot of our people, that's how they deal. They live off of being grimy and seeing who they can prey on, right? Then it says, and if ye shall not swear by my name falsely. Let me jump down this one. And if thou should not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him of wages of him that he is hired. Meaning, like, if you owe somebody money, pay them when you got the money. Don't be like, no, I'm gonna give it to him when I feel like it. Because that creates drama right there. Because people want their money. So that would cut out a lot of problems in our neighborhood. Then you want just people just do the right thing and quit trying to what it say, defraud thy brother, neither rob him of his wages. Meaning, if you owe him some money, if he did some work for you or whatever the case be, pay him the money, and shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. And that's another thing too. That's how wicked America is too. So you'll work a job too, and then you have to wait a whole week or two to get paid. Or, some jobs you might have to wait almost a whole month to get paid. But here in the Bible says you pay that man the same day. If they do a job, you pay them, right? But here in this kingdom, they pay you when they want to. Then we follow along and, owe somebody some money, then we forget that we just got some money from a person. And it says, what it says, and ye shall not do unrighteous judgment. Thou should not have respect the person of the poor or honor the person who of the mighty. Meaning, don't be playing favoritism amongst people. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And stop playing favoritism. That'll keep down a lot of stuff. It says, jump down to 16. Thou should not go up and down as a talebearer. Meaning, don't be going around spreading rumors and telling information about somebody that the person didn't even ask you about. You just what I call dry snitching. Just saying some stuff that nobody asked you about. You just out here just talking bad about this person. Don't be a talebearer. That will stop a lot of drama in our community. That alone. And it says, don't be a talebearer amongst thy people, neither shall thy go stand against the blood of thy neighbor. Meaning too, like, and don't stand against the blood of your neighbor. Meaning, like, if you see somebody treating your people wrong, just don't be taking your phone out and recording it. Do something about it. Stand up to it. Like, you're not supposed to allow your fellow Israelite to be treated bad if you right there and you can do something about it. That's a commandment. That's a law, not to, allow harm to your brother and you right there. Especially from another nation, because a lot of times the police will, be jacking us up, and we just, other person be standing on the side with the camera instead of getting them off you. Like Tupac said, it's supposed to be 5 dead niggas instead of 1. But no, straight up and down though, you got to be able to stand up for your brother, and be willing to die for him too if necessary. Because we cannot allow somebody to just harm us, just like they don't allow us to harm them. If we do something to them, it's gonna be consequences, repercussions, and consequences. They only got the death penalty ready for you. Back in the day, they used to come and drag you out the jailhouse. So we got to be ready to stand, up for our people. And what is that? And thou should not hate thy brother in thy heart, right? So, and we can't hate each other neither. We gotta, because a lot of times we have grudges over nothing. We be so quick to forgive the other man, but this with our people, we just be mad for years or for nothing. Stuff that people can just talk out. Talk it out. But we don't do that. The Bible says you got a problem with your brother, you come to him and him alone, and y'all squash that. But we don't do that. We want to make a big deal and or just go gossiping about people. And like I said, so it says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt anywise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer a sin upon him, right? So, and your neighbor is not the person that's living next door to you in your building. Your neighbor is your fellow Israelite, okay? And it's about to tell you that in the next verse. Because but in church they tell you that everybody is your neighbor. That's why we so docile now as a people. That's why we so quick to forgive those people when they do harm to us, because we think that they're our neighbors. But everybody else know when another nation do something to you, that's an act of war. But we think that they are neighbors. But it's about to tell you in the next verse who your neighbors is, and it says, "Thou should not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou should not anywise rebuke thy neighbor and suffer not sin upon him." Meaning, we're not supposed to hate each other, but if you see somebody doing wrong, you correct them. You let them know, like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. This is the right way. How you should, do this. And that way we can keep our nation holy, keep it clean. But a lot of times we see somebody doing something wrong and we don't say nothing to them. We just let them do their thing. That's them. They'll figure it out. But that's not how God wants us to be. It's just like you got kids and you charge your kid to take care of the younger ones, and the younger ones acting up, you're going to go to the older one and be like, hey, why are you letting this happen? I told you to watch them. So it's the same thing. God wants us to watch each other. That Cain and Abel with G Money spirit, I'm not my brother's keeper type stuff. We are our brother's keeper. You got to remember that, right? So it says, thou should not revenge nor bear a grudge against the children of thy people. So that's who your brother is. Your neighbor is. Your neighbor is the children of thy people. So it's not how they teach you your neighbor is everybody, because it tells you right here that it says, thou should not hate thy brother, thou should not have any revenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, which is your fellow Israelites. But thou should love thy neighbor like thyself. I am the Yahweh, right? So that's how we just do that. Just implement just that. That can take a lot of drama out of our community. And stop a lot of the gang violence if we learn how to look at each other as ourselves, and then we won't be so quick to hurt each other. A lot of times, people get punched in the face and rather have a busted lip. They rather go kill somebody instead of sitting down with a black guy or a busted lip. That stuff heal in a couple of days, but you kill somebody, that person gone. But we have become, evil eye towards our brothers. So and that's where we at with him. Go to 25 real quick. 25 and 25. It says, if thy brother, so like I said, so we got to learn how to take care of each other. Because we read in Zephaniah, gather ourselves together. So we got to gather ourselves together. But then we got to know how to get along with each other too. So, and it says, if thy brother wax poor, meaning if, you know somebody that goes on hard times, they probably lost their job or whatever the case may be. It says, if thy brother wax poor and have sold away some of his possessions, if any of his kin come to redeem, he shall redeem which is of his brothers, right? So meaning that, if somebody wax poor and they probably owe you some money or whatever, give them some grace, and don't be, trying to oppress them for the money. Then if they got a family member that can pay it, then, allow them to pay it or whatever the case may be. 'Cause a lot of times we be trying to extort each other, and so let me jump down to 35, and it says, if thy brother wax poor and fallen into decay, meaning like I said, they lost their job or they just, just going through hard times, and and falling into decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, though he be a stranger or sojourner, that he may live with thee. So meaning if you see somebody, because once upon a time, like, you see somebody doing bad, you'll take them in and be like, hey, you need a place to stay, you need something to eat, you need some money. We're supposed to help each other out when you see each other doing bad, not like trying to stunt on each other and trying to show each other who got more or what, which is crazy. We supposed to, because nobody else does that. The African come over here, they make their money, they send it back to Africa. The Chinese come over here, they make their money, they send it back to China, and so forth and so forth. But us, we too busy trying to outstudy each other, buying European people clothes, which is crazy. So yeah, where we at? So, and then it says, "Thou should take no usury on him or increase." So meaning, if you borrow somebody some money, don't be you give them $20, don't be asking for $30. You know, we're not allowed to do that. We can't do that. That's called usury, putting usury, and you turning your brother into a slave by doing that. Because now you got to work a little extra harder to pay you a little extra money. You only got $20 from you, but you want 30. That's wrong. That's what the other people do. We're not supposed to be like that. So go to Ezekiel real quick. So we almost done here. I'm just trying to show you how we gotta according to the Bible, which the Bible says how we should treat each other. And this is just a couple commandments and laws that we can implement as a community, and we can see the difference. Like if we stop gossiping and or spreading rumors about each other, or sleeping with each other, woman or wife or whatever, that'll cut out a lot of stuff. Um, just those things alone. So this Exodus 19:6. And ye shall be unto me as a kingdom of priests in a holy nation. So that's what we is as a people. So we can't be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation if we're trying to rob each other, kill each other, not taking care of each other. We see something happen, just being cruel to each other, acting like, that you don't see a fellow brother or sister over there, right? So it says, and ye shall become a kingdom, and ye shall unto me become a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And these words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, right? So, and that's what what's gonna happen. We're gonna be that kingdom of priests, in that day. But we got to learn how to do it, because in the church they're not teaching you how to be a nation of kings and priests. They're teaching you how to, just be docile, basically, and that's why it's no wonder we go to these churches and we don't know anything. That you ask a simple question, nobody knows nothing, and you got all these churches on a corner, on every other corner, and nobody knows anything. So we got to actually go into the Bible and get to understand it ourselves. So it's Isaiah 32:8. 32:8. No, 32:18. It says, "And my people shall dwell in peaceable habitation, in sure dwellings, in quiet resting places." Right. So that's what's going to happen. When, like I said, in Zephaniah and Jeremiah, when he gathered us out of the north, we're going to dwell in those quiet resting places, because, like I said, the Lord has reserved this whole earth for us. And so, when you understand that, this whole earth has been reserved for us, and, and then, then we start to understand that heaven is not, somewhere where you die and you go. It's here on earth, like it says in the Lord's Prayer. So this is the last verse before we close out. It was 30, go to 25. Ezekiel 34:25, right? And it says, "And I will make them a covenant of peace, and I will cause the evil beasts to cease out of the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness, and the sheep in the woods," right? Where it says, dwell safely in the wilderness, and the sheep in the woods. So it's talking about we're gonna have a land, it's gonna bring us back into that covenant, and we're gonna be at peace. And we ain't gonna have to worry about no other nation trying to come against us and kidnap us again, or go to war with us because they're gonna know that the Lord is with us in that day, and they're not gonna want to fight against us. And you know, and because like all the nations, they do know because like the Bible calls him the God of Israel, Isaac, and Isaac, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? The God of Israel, all throughout the Bible. Even in Revelation, when it talk about the kingdom, it tells you that the other nations gonna say the God of Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob because they know who He is. Because like I was explaining in the last video, that every nation has their own God according to Deuteronomy. Genesis, not Genesis, Deuteronomy 4:22. In Deuteronomy 32:8, it tell you that God created, all these nations their own gods to worship, but Israel's supposed to worship Him. So so it's 34:25. Yeah, so yeah, I would make them a covenant of peace, and I would cause the evil beasts to cease out of the land which they dwell safely, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness. So, like I said, so we're not gonna have to worry about all that. And you know, but like I said, we gotta gather ourselves together, like it says in Zephaniah 2:2. And we gotta, like I said, learn how to treat each other. Stop being so conniving and shiesty towards each other. And stop being so murderous and so quick to kill each other. Because like I said, we created to be a nation of kings and priests. That's why I tell you in Deuteronomy 28 and 37, about us being bywords and proverbs. That's why the other nations make fun of us. Because they know who we supposed to be, but they see what we are, and what we've become. So we got to come back to the commandments of the Most High, come back to our culture, our knowledge of being Israelites, and like I said, just keep the faith and keep the commandments. So, like I said, recap: heaven and hell is a state of being, and it all take place on earth, according to Ecclesiastes 1:4, reading in Psalms 1:16-3. Then Jonah, through his own expression, and 2:2, Jonah 2:2. So once we get that understanding that heaven and hell is a predicament. So it's a state, So then, like I said, so we went over that and we understood that, as far as like there's certain things that could, I ain't gonna say could, they will help, the Black community if we, learn how to stop hating each other and being so quick to kill each other, being so quick to try to, get over on each other and etc. So hopefully, we were edified on that. And, what I'm saying? So until next time, I say shalom and all that. About to find me something to eat. And that's what's up. Peace.